Hi there and hello. It is time for a continuation of Three Guys Before the Game Summer Series. I don't know if I've ever said this before, but we got a dandy for you. Have I said that before?
I think you've said that before.
I have. But this, I've never said.
But it's true. The summer series are always just
They're
one
dandies.
after the other.
Can't thank these folks enough for spending time with us. I've never said this before. This is episode 555. 3 5s in a row. So I'm not going to tell you how to bet your lottery number, but I'm just saying 555 might be hitting big. Delighted to have our guest, WVU Offensive Coordinator Chad Scott, joins us on the program. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here.
Appreciate the opportunity.
He holds several distinctions. Look at him out there for those of you that are watching. I mean, whoa! Spring practice drills in progress. He doesn't stop moving. He goes left, he goes right, he cuts, he's in, he's out. It's good. He holds several distinctions. Unofficially, these are, Brett.
Unofficially.
Most positive guy on the coaching staff.
Okay, good one.
It's not even close. Earliest riser on the coaching staff.
Oh, is that true?
Very true.
He gave you very true.
Ryan Nealon, we battled going back and forth since he's been back.
Ryan's trying to make a push.
He's an early riser as well.
Oh.
He is an early riser.
Huh, interesting.
All right, I want to learn more about that.
His grandfather was too, down to be in the office early on. Three Guys Before the Game brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. If you're a business owner and in need of a new business phone system, Comax is the place to be. From one line to 1,000 lines, the latest technology, and as far as purchase goes, competitively priced, and you can do it any way you want. You want to rent it? Fine. You want to purchase it? Fine. You want to lease it? Got it. ComaxWV.com. Three Guys also brought to us by GoMart. Go for good times. Go for GoMart. Get that rewards card, immediately save on the cost of your fuel and your food. Anyone who knows anything about food knows that GoMart, just a borderline 5-star Michelin restaurant away. I mean, moon pies, nachos, Reese's. Get yourself a 13-pound bag of peanut M&Ms.
Some of those Funyuns.
Funyuns. You know what else they sell there, Chad?
What's that?
They sell a Slim Jim as long as a fly rod fishing pole.
Slim Jim.
About 7 foot.
Really? Wow.
With a Slim Jim. Get your GoMart rewards card. Three Guys also brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. What do? They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. You like to boat?
Not really. I don't mind going out on the boat.
See.
Oh, there, yeah. You want to ride on the boat. You don't want to be driving the boat.
Yeah, I won't be driving.
No, I'm with you on that. See, yeah, okay, I'm with you. Well, whether you want to ride on one, whether you want to drive one, whatever it needs, they happen to be, Lou Wendell, the premier pontoon boat dealer in our state. They sell Avalon boats, which are manufactured right here in the United States. And as of right now, before we even head into the month of June, selection is at its season high. From boats to all of the equipment that one needs, visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. So this is it's kind of weird to say this, but like this is quiet time as we record here for you guys. The month of May, fair to say month of May is your quietest month of the year?
Well, it depends. Not really. You know, it's the because it's recruiting time of the year.
Okay, wait, let me rephrase that. This is the quietest time for the players.
Exactly.
They're gone.
Yeah, it's quiet time for the players and our communication with them and where they are. They're gone. They're going home. On the other hand, we're all over the place.
That's true.
Traveling all over the country, literally.
So so then is July still that time where you guys get it?
So July, so at the end of June to the mid-July is a break.
That's the break.
That's the break for us. That's the dead period.
Because it's not like it used to be, because the NCAA rules changing, you now have more ability to touch your guys than you ever had in the past, which means you guys got to be in the building.
Correct. So those guys returned at the end of May. From the end of May up until the end of June, we're around those guys as much as we've ever have been in the past.
Yeah. And then a little break in July, and then probably by third week July at that, you guys are starting to meet, and then here we go.
Here we go. It's back at it.
Can you believe this will be year 6?
Year 6, man, I can't believe it. It's as long as I've been anywhere. It's been awesome. I love it. I mean, I can't believe it's going by fast. It's periods where it's going by slow, and there's periods it's going by fast. Last year, was a year that, the success that we all been yearning for, and that went by fast. And then some previous years, not so fast.
Does it feel like it's been more 2 years or 12 years?
Oh, good question. Does it feel like more 2 or 12?
More 2.
Yeah.
More 2.
Yeah, more 2.
I'd love to know, what was your impression of West Virginia before you got here? So when Uncle Neil says, guys, I'm going to take the West Virginia job. Chad, I'd like you to be with me on this step. What was in your head about what West Virginia was?
Well, I've football guy growing up, so I've always known the phenomenal football program, passionate, fun, explosive offense. I've always known that about West Virginia. Now, for me, I was actually I was in transition in jobs, and I was at University of Louisville for 3 days.
How many did you say?
3 days.
Now that wouldn't be 4, that'd be 3.
That'd be 3.
So
And, so I didn't have much time to think about what West Virginia was. I knew what it was. Like I said, great football, energy, atmosphere, the passion behind the fans, and the following. But 3 days. I didn't have much time to think about it. And when Coach offered me the job, it was a no-brainer for me. Played with Coach and coached with him for a long time, so it was a no-brainer for me.
You can answer this however you want, but like, how weird was it after 3 days to go in there and go like, hey, I got to catch another bus?
It's really indescribable feel. I can't even describe it. It came out of nowhere. Obviously, it'd been much easier to say, hey, I'm gonna stay, but that was an indescribable feeling. It was weird. I can't even describe it. Like,
how'd they go over? Who was the coach then?
Scott Satterfield.
Scott Satterfield. How'd that go over?
It went over well.
Yeah,
it's better as best I thought it would. To be honest with you, I didn't think it would go over really well. To be honest with you, but it wasn't bad.
Do you know Lloyd Carr was at West Virginia and never made it onto the field?
Really?
He was here for a couple of weeks when Don Nehlen first got hired. There's pictures of those guys in staff meeting with Lloyd Carr there, but he never coached. It happens.
Really?
I mean, I get that, especially
It
in
does
this.
happen. It does happen.
Yeah.
But I never knew that. I never knew.
Lloyd Carr was here.
How about that?
So you come to West Virginia, you have a perception and a knowledge of what West Virginia football has been. What players do you remember before you got here of what was West Virginia football?
Players, I remember a lot of them. Like I said, I followed them big time. Obviously the Pat White, Steve Slayton.
You're too young for Major Harris? You too young for how like?
You know what?
How old were you in '88?
I knew of Major Harris. I didn't. But I was. I think in '88 was it the
undefeated season.
year I was 7 years old. So I knew.
We're old, dude. We are so old.
Like your Jock Sanders, Bruce Irvins.
We got a Jock Sanders in there.
Carl Joseph.
Yeah.
I remember Andrew Bowie.
Oh yeah.
Skylar Howard.
So how about that? So you know
Devin Bailey, Tavon Austin, obviously. Kevin White.
Oh, yeah.
I got it.
That's a ton of guys.
Long lineage of running backs here, though, right? Amos Zaraway, Avon Coburn,
Noel Devine, Quincy Wilson, Wendell Smallwood, the big beer truck, right?
Oh yeah, Owen Schmidt, sure.
So pretty good recollection.
So you had a good feel program-wise.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think living in West Virginia was going to be like compared to what it is?
Had no idea that I would love it as much. I really couldn't even visualize what it would be like. I never lived in the mountains. I have no recollection of what I'm from Florida. It's flat as can be. So I really had no recollection. I really had no, idea what it would be like to live in the mountains. It's been amazing. I figure if you can drive here in the mountains, you can drive anywhere.
No question.
For that.
But,
no question.
I just never really visualized myself living in West Virginia.
So what is it that you like so much?
Now?
Now, like you're here and your guys your families
I love the scenery. I love the Four Seasons. I love the 4 seasons. You get opportunity to experience the 4 seasons. The coolness that the summer provides in the evenings and the late sunsets are unmatched.
Yeah, it's strong.
I mean, I'm from Florida where, it could be 85 degrees, but the humidity may be 100%. So you could be in the shade as much as you want, still feel like you just got,
that's
in
interesting.
and out of a pool. But here, it's even in the summer when it's during its hottest months. I mean, it's cool, nice nights where you can go sit out on the porch and enjoy yourself. So I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
You mentioned playing with Neil. So you've been around him a long time at a bunch of different stops. How's he different now than he was as a player?
Well,
Head coach Neil different than player Neil?
He's in control. He's in charge. He's always acted like he was in charge when he was a player. Now he's actually in charge. He had a coach's mentality when he was a player. Honestly, he really did. Now he's actually in charge. So, we listen now. But in regards to who he is, his character, he's always been a very detailed guy. Always been very detailed, even as a player, wasn't the fastest guy, wasn't the most athletic guy. He'll tell you that. But, his success he had on the field, he earned on the field, just doing the little things right. So all of that just translates to who he is as a coach and as a player. And it's things he relays right now to us as a staff and to the players about doing the little things right to make big things happen. That's what made him go. That's what made him successful. And those are things that still make him successful right now, attention to detail in his organization. So
and you knew he'd be a coach right when you were playing?
I did.
Yeah.
Yep, I did.
Did you know you were going to be a coach?
I did not. I did not know I was going to be a coach. And I say this now. I've always had interest in it, more so when I got older, when I started understanding the game more. I thought I would be. I didn't think it would happen as fast as it did. I thought I'd play a lot longer in the NFL than I did.
Reality
Those
check.
dreams were derailed quickly. Yeah.
Which is not an uncommon thought process by players, right? I mean,
it's really not.
That's what the thought
we all
is.
Think of. You think you're invincible, that you can go do it, and it's a lot of things that tells. And for me, it was my eating habits. I had very poor eating habits.
Huh? Wait a second.
Poor.
This is a first.
This is a first.
555 episodes, and you think your career may have been derailed by bad eating?
100%.
Walk me through this then.
And sweet tea.
Tell me. Sweet tea?
Absolutely.
Sweet tea was the problem.
Sweet tea and poor eating habits. I would eat it. I used to think it was a joke. I remember being in class, and I can't remember what class it was, but the teacher would go through and she would say, stand up and describe something about yourself. And I would say, well, I go to Bojangles and I get a 4-piece chicken with 3 wings and a thigh. I want it crispy, and I want a large sweet iced tea, right? And I thought that was pretty fun. Now that caught up with me later, because at that particular time, I could eat all that chicken and the fries and the sweet tea, but my body wouldn't change. I still stayed 195 pounds, right? The sweet tea deal was, the trainers would tell me, hey, the sweet tea is dehydrating you. That's the reason why we keep having to give you IVs pregame, halftime.
Wow.
That's why you keep cramping. But it was a crutch because I knew they would give me the IVs pregame, halftime, and it caught up with me big time when I got to the NFL. My body gave up on me.
Really?
And so I said all the time, I attribute it to my poor eating habits, eating fried chicken all the time and drinking sweet tea all the time, and drinking more sweet tea than I did water or Gatorade.
That's pretty wild, yet still make it to the NFL. So obviously loads of talent.
I still made it.
Right, so that's what you'd change. If you could go back and change something, you'd change that.
I'd be more disciplined. Now, of course, we had chefs, but we didn't have the dietitians that we have now. Now we got dietitians and they have the interns, and so they're monitoring your plate and what you eat, and even outside of the building, they're monitoring that. We didn't have that, but I knew better.
Yeah.
But I chose the flavor over what was really good for my body.
I would think that you preach it pretty heavy in your room right now, going, guys, let me tell you something.
And the first person I can relate with really well is C.J. Donaldson, because he was a guy that came in and he loved McDonald's. He absolutely loved McDonald's. Funny story, after he had surgery, he's in the recovery room. He's out. He is out, and he's not really responding to anybody. And so I say something to see if he responded to this, because I know he loved it. I say, you still love McDonald's? He says, And so, but now he's put that down. I wouldn't say he's just completely gotten rid of it, but what he used to do in regards to how often he visited the place to what he is now, 360.
Yeah.
And it's changed his body, it's changed his mind, it's changed his energy, it's changed his conditioning levels. And so he sees what it does for his body. I'm able to relate that to him because, again, I experienced that myself. And like I say, it derailed my career a whole lot quicker than what I believe.
There's so many more tools now. You alluded to that. There's so many more tools available to these guys. But at the end of the day, they still have to do it. That's still the hardest part of the equation is them actually doing that.
Absolutely, it's a discipline. I would say this, man. I know people want discipline, but they want what discipline produces.
Mm-hmm.
And so, just relaying that, I think even as a football team right now, I think we're at that point right now where we're getting more guys to be disciplined because they enjoy what the discipline produces. And in the past, it's been more inconsistency and discipline, yet want what the discipline produces.
It's hard to see.
That's wonderfully said, man.
Right.
It's hard to see it though before the results come.
Exactly,
when the results come, okay, now you can now everybody can see it. Now you can get in line. It's hard to get there when you can't see what's around the corner.
It was hard for me, and that's why, like I said, I didn't play as long as I did. I didn't want to be disciplined, and in regards to my eating habits and what I was intaking with the sweet tea, but yet I wanted what the discipline produces would have been to stay in the NFL a whole lot longer than a year and a half.
So, but what happens is, and I'm guessing here, you preach it, CJ buys it, and then the younger guys that come in, if someone's off the path there, CJ goes say, "Hey, I want to let you know, like I used to eat all that stuff. Now I feel this," and and then it just trickle. You finally get a bunch of guys that understand it,
which is the best way. It's like being a player-led team. As long as I'm telling them that, we're not as good as we need to be. But if the players can get it, and then that can trickle down to the younger guys and continuously, now you start to get a player-led team, and those guys talk and communicate with one another and build trust within the locker room.
Player-led team is something that Neil mentioned a couple of years ago, because the reality of it is that when you guys first got here, it was not a player-led team, in large part because you inherited players. And so you have to go through that transition period where you bring in your guys, and then you got to hope that your guys are the right guys to lead. Can you kind of walk us through the significance and the importance of player-led teams and what you've seen in the past stops of real true player-led teams and what that means?
Well, the real true player-led teams are the teams that's going to, in my opinion, garner the most success, because those guys, first of all, they're in the locker rooms together. They're in the weight rooms together. Even when they come back in the summer, for as much as we can be around those guys, they're going to be around one another through Mike Joseph's workout program and player-led workouts more than they still will be around us. Because I want to say as much as we can be with them, I believe it's 2 hours a week, where they're going to be another 18 or so hours.
Sure. Yeah.
With one another. So the player-led team where they can trust one another, know each other's story, and respect each other's opinion and criticism if it gets to that point, and respond to it. Those are the guys that got to go on the football field and do it. But if it's a coach-led team, which we've experienced that and have been in the past, those teams don't garner as much success. We're not around them as much. So the trust is not built within one another in the locker room, and this is on the football field, and they're not playing for each other, playing for the individual.
Yep.
And that shows in a lot of ways, right? One of them, I would assume, work ethic. So you need guys that are going to bust it. So there's some modeling there where the younger guys can see, okay, that's how you do it. That's when you arrive. That's how hard you work when you're in the weight room. That's how hard you study. That'd be one. I assume attitude's a big one. What are guys talking about in the locker room? Are they yipping, yapping, complaining, or are they more on the positive side, right? So it's actually a bunch of different silos or buckets within that leadership role.
Right.
Fair, accurate?
Fair, accurate. Connectivity. That's what I like to term it. Connectivity. That's when you have connection, you can have success. And that's what we have right now. Even like the guys just want to be around each other outside of the ball. Right now they'll hang out with one another, which is huge. We have recruits come in. Those guys want to host. In the past, we had to go find those guys who want to host. Now they want to host because they want to make sure that the guys brought in on the football team are the right guys for our team as well. Talk about the right guys, good guys and the right guys. And so the connectivity right now is strong.
Was that one of your you and your staff's frustration the first couple of years that you didn't have that and you knew how important it was?
Absolutely. It was a big frustration for us. It's a big deal. We did not have the connectivity. We did not have it. And just even outside of just the leadership, we didn't have the leadership either. We had more so lead by example. not any more so vocal leaders, but we didn't have the connectivity that you need on any particular team to be successful.
Yeah.
You need both of those, though, don't you? Show by example and vocal. I mean,
you
on a
need
football
both.
team that's as big as it is,
Right.
there needs to be both types of those.
Right.
Yeah.
You need both. You need both. You can, and particularly and when we first got in, we definitely needed both.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But we did not have it. And now where we are right now, like we didn't have as much vocal last year. We had more lead by example, but like again, we've done a phenomenal job recruiting the right guys, and so we didn't have to be as vocal, as we needed to be in the past last year.
Because that's where a lot of that comes from, is in the recruiting part of it. I mean,
Absolutely.
you can teach it and preach it and get on them, but some of that's got to be within those guys to be able to accept that role.
If you can recruit a kid that has that within him, along with the talent, that is a big bonus. So you go into school and your coach said, "Coach, this kid, he's a 2-time captain, and that's awesome. He has those leadership qualities within himself already.
Mm-hmm.
So
No question.
that's
about
huge.
that. Do you play golf?
I do not golf.
Yeah.
Now I drive the golf cart on the golf. I'm the music guy.
That's right.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
I'm the DJ.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We're having a golf event that kind of involves you. It's coming up on Saturday, June the 8th, and we're raising dollars for WVU's Cancer Institute, and we're inviting anyone who would like to do two things. You can either play in the tournament, and then you play, and then you're going to eat, and then we're going to do a live Three Guys there. And one of our guests on that live Three Guys is a guy that you know. His name is Garrett Green. Have you ever heard of him?
I've heard of that guy.
Yeah, Garrett Green.
Pretty well.
And we have one other new addition that's going to be with us that day as well.
This thing just keeps growing.
It does. Guy named Ren Baker.
Yeah.
Ren Baker. You ever heard of him?
Yeah, absolutely heard of him.
Yeah,
as well.
Ren's around the college. He works over there near the
So
Coliseum.
he's coming too.
He's coming too. And Blaine Stewart is going to be there because we're going to dedicate the bench at the golf course in honor of his dad.
It's awesome.
And
awesome.
and Karen's going to be there too.
Well, this is going to be a
Karen
big
Stewart's
time.
going to be there too. So we'd love to have you because we're raising dollars for the Cancer Institute's Live Like Brent Fund, which benefits patients battling blood cancers. And the sign up is on right now. It's simple to do. Go to WVUCancerGolfClassic.com. Now you could say, well, wait a second, Tony, I don't play golf. Well, that's fine because I don't play either. You can just come for the evening or the afternoon portion, which will be after the golf is over. That's the live show. So you can sit in for the live show and the food, and that's a win-win. So WVUCancerGolfClassic.com. I don't know who else is going to – I don't know who else we can
keep
get.
adding to it every couple days. So.
Yeah, maybe I don't want to – listen,
Just
I don't
stop.
want to promise.
Not maybe. No,
someone
just stop.
said Springsteen and Jagger are both going to be there.
Unconfirmed.
I'm not sure about that if they show. If not, listen, Chad on his DJ stuff will just play the music. So like, you consider yourself a DJ and an unbelievable chef.
Absolutely. Work at both.
What did the apron when you did the crawfish cook? What did your apron say on it when you cooked for the team?
It said I can't really remember exactly what it was, but my wife bought it for me.
It said like
It said like
best in the world or something like that.
Best crawfish cooker in the world, something like that, which is accurate. Which would be accurate.
You know what I like about you? You don't run away from stuff. Like some people like, well, no, that's Nelly Night. Like you just embrace it. I'm the best.
Absolutely. I tell people I'm not from Louisiana, but you ate my crawfish, you think I was a native of Louisiana.
So when did you fall in love with that? Is that a young kid thing?
No, I actually fell in love with it back in, I think, 2013.
Oh, really?
Yeah, back 2013. And I just got, we were doing, I was coaching at University of Kentucky. The coach would bring guys from Louisiana to do that. And that was the first time I had eaten crawfish. And I loved it. And I kind of, that couple of years, started looking over their shoulder and picked up on some habits and
see what they were doing.
See what they're doing. And, then I found my own way to do it. And as I started cooking it, wasn't as good at first and continually got better and better. And now I would say I'm an expert at it.
You recently cooked for the team and brought in 160 pounds of crawfish. Had them shipped in from Louisiana.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And as you learned how to do these a better way than you first started,
right.
what were some of the last pieces that you added to it that makes it special?
Well, it's some of the ingredients. Some secret ingredients, can't you say?
Huh?
That makes it special. But
wait a second. Wait, time out.
I tell you this, what I am though, I'm big on like keeping it easy and
Right.
less is more. So
Right.
where you may see some crawfish crab boils have lemons in it, and I'm a lemon juice, not a lemon. I'm a garlic powder instead of
Big chunks of garlic.
cloves.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about the cleanup process as well.
Yeah.
But I'll say this. A couple of my secret ingredients are hot sauce and W sauce, which is the toughest word to actually say.
Worcestershire?
Yeah,
Worcestershire sauce. Yeah, that is a word.
You can get it. You can ask about 10 people, we'll all say it different. So I call it
Just a W sauce.
W sauce.
That's a good
but
way
the
to
W
get it.
sauce and the hot sauce. Frank's hot sauce to be
Yeah.
exact.
What do you think the W sauce adds to the flavor? What do you think it gives you?
I think it just makes that shell a little easier to peel.
Oh, really?
I think so. Absolutely.
You told this story about cooking 160 pounds at the Wheeling Coaches Caravan.
Yeah.
And what you added to it was what I thought was real, besides the food, which I love, is an interesting thing. From a team standpoint, you
Right.
thought you learned a lot about your team based on what happened during and then after.
Absolutely. The connectivity. First of all, those guys are the courageousness to even try that. I mean, we talk about mental and physical toughness all the time. And first of all, the mental toughness that it takes to try it, because they funny looking creatures. And then the physical toughness that it takes to continuously eat those things, because they making your eyes water, your nose run, and you can't rub your eyes. Now, that'd be the worst thing you could possibly do.
Trust me, I know.
And so the mental, we talk about being mentally and physically tough, and you got to have both to do that. And they did it. And then it brings those guys together, man. Like the connectivity, like they teach each one another how to eat it, and they think they teach each other one another how to eat it. And even afterwards, because it's an experience. It is spicy, it is hot, but it's an experience. But even when those guys come together and they spend an extra hour and a half and 2 hours after eating all those things, it's huge. And to have guys come up to me and say, "Coach, I've never eaten this kind of seafood in my life." And you got, like I said before, it's not a diet of West Virginia, but I'm making it a diet of West Virginia. But the connectivity that it brings to our offense it's amazing.
Yeah. So defensive guys not allowed?
Defense guys find a way over there too. Some of the defense coaches find a way over there as well. Yeah, I had one defense coach tell me, "Coach, we just need to bring this thing all together. You just do one team thing. You just tell us what to do, what to wear, and what to clean up, and we'll help you out."
That'd be like 320 pounds of fish.
Ain't no doubt.
Are you up for that challenge? Could you
I am up for that. Now,
you could do 320 pounds.
I can, because where I've gotten smarter with this thing too, outside of cooking, is the machines you use. And so I've upgraded my machine usage. And so we got some bigger machines to cook, a lot more than what we have in the past. Which makes it more efficient. And they go fast now. It's more crawl than fish, so we ain't eating a lot. Just you're not eating a lot per the crawfish. It's how much you eat.
So this is a boil.
It's a boil. Yeah,
so you're using big pots.
Big pots, big machines.
Yeah, see, I like this.
That's awesome. It's awesome to get. The guys absolutely love it. I love it. It's a big deal. We've done it. We did it for the first time last summer. It was a big hit. And the guys kind of new to it. They was a little hesitant.
Right.
But they was ready for it this year.
Now, how would one go about, let's just say, maybe if they host a podcast to get invited to something like that? Is there like a...
We'll throw you an invite. I
think maybe...
Absolutely. Throw you an invite.
I mean,
absolutely.
What do you think, Brad? I mean, would you...
Absolutely.
He's a weird eater. Would you eat him?
Absolutely.
You would?
Oh, I'd eat that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Hey.
I'd eat that.
Hey,
Who ate the most?
Pinch, twist, pull.
That's the thing. It is a lot of work, though. No?
No, it's not a lot of work. Hey, pinch, twist, pull.
Not as bad as
pinch, twist, pull.
Not like crab legs.
Yeah,
I love crab legs. Crab legs is a lot of work.
Crabs, they're people, a lot of work for less meat.
Yeah.
But on this, we're gonna pinch them, we're gonna twist them, we're gonna pull it out. It's right there.
I've got a feeling past guest to this show, Jaquay Hubbard, may have eaten his
Oh,
share.
Jaquay, he loves. He had a big share. I tell you what, I'm so busy.
Was he the top earner?
I'm so busy cooking it and cleaning as I'm going. I'm big OC. I'm a big cleaner. I want to make sure everything's.
Yeah, I like that.
You look on. If I had a Google review on the crawfish, I'm definitely gonna be above 4.0. So I'm. It's funny. I hardly eat in it myself. I want to make sure that it's the quality is good. They're enjoying it.
Yeah,
and along the way, I'm cleaning up as I go. So the cleanup process in the end ain't as tough for me.
Yeah, I'll get you.
Did Jaquay hit the most?
But so I can tell you who had the most. I can tell you this: those crawfish went fast. They were gone.
160 pounds.
They were gone quick. And but a lot of those guys this year, it was a lot better than last year. So I think, it's a pretty good combination of guys that, had quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to change topics here because if not, then people on the reviews of the show go like they had the offensive coordinator on. They didn't talk any football.
We got to get football. That's okay. We're ready.
Are you guys this year going to finally run the full offense that you thought at one point when you guys got here that you wanted to run, but haven't been able to yet?
I think we did that last year.
You got it last year.
We did that last year. We really did. We did that last year.
By the back half of last year,
with a couple more,
right?
Yeah, more so absolutely. The back half of last year. I'm gonna say the last 7 games of last year.
Yeah.
We did that, opening up the offense a lot more and being a lot more creative in the run game and being able to throw that ball downfield and create explosives. So we're finally able to do that. Yes, sir. The back half of last year, the last 7 games.
Mm-hmm. When you reviewed stats from last season, you said, he had success long ball, obviously that intermediate game and flat passes and things like that.
Yeah.
Percentages need to improve. What are the takeaways that you looked at and said, okay, these are the things that I want to refine going into next season?
Well, we want to refine. First of all, we're way more explosive than we've ever been. We're one of the most explosive offenses in the country. So we got to continue to create explosives. Where we got to get better at is we didn't have as many drops as we have had in the past.
Right.
But we still got to be able to, it's some contested catches that we still need to be able to make to be the team that we want to be and we know we're capable of being. There's some contested catches, some competitive balls that we need to come down with. We got to be more efficient in short yardage and goal line areas. We ran the ball out, so we're number 1 rushing offense in Power 5. But we have to be 100% and more efficient in short yardage and goal line situations. We cannot get stood up at the goal line twice, which happened to us last year. We got to be able to convert those. So those going into it, we got to be able to do that. And then we got to be able to pass the ball when we need to be able to pass the football. We were better at that the last 7 games of the season. We got to come out of the gates being better at that.
So you're talking about a 3rd or 7, 3rd or 8, where it's a passing situation. You have to increase your efficiency there.
Absolutely. And then our receivers, which did a phenomenal job last year, not a lot of expectations for those guys. So coming in as freshmen, we're good. They need to graduate. That's the level they need to take their game. From freshman to graduate, they got to take the game to that next level. So going in short yardage goal line, got to be 100% of those. Got to be way more efficient in that regard. Got to be able to pass the ball when we need to pass the ball. When they know we got to pass the ball, we got to be able to pass the ball. Got to have more contested catches come down on our behalf. And then our receivers need to take the next step.
Let's talk about the receiver room. I mean, it was pretty extreme. It wasn't pretty. It was extremely unusual last season to see as many young receivers on the field all at the same time.
Right.
I mean, that's really doesn't happen. And
Really
yet they made plays.
They did.
So now give me your evaluation of what you thought they looked like in the spring, and when they come back in August, what are their next steps to being the dudes?
Right. And when I say take the next step, like I'm not saying like they had a phenomenal year. They really did. But they're so talented. There's so much more that they got in the tank and that they can show and that they can do and go execute. So that's what I'm saying. Because Marsh did a phenomenal job with those guys. The difference in this year, for example, Rodney Gallagher, he did a phenomenal job running routes this spring. We found ways to get the ball in his hands so he can be special with the ball in his hands, utilize his talent. He got better at route running. Traylon Ray, phenomenal deep ball catcher, for sure hands, particularly as a freshman, did a phenomenal job blocking on the perimeter. He got stronger, which made him more confident this spring to go against older players that we brought in out of the portal, and he had success. Hudson Clement, similar to him as well. He got stronger, which made him more confident. Not saying they didn't have confidence, but when you're stronger and you know, like the guys I'm lining up against, not only am I as talented as you, but I'm also as strong as you, allows you to play with a whole lot more confidence. And then they understand defense a lot more, understand coverages, understand like what they're looking at before the ball snap, which gives them a plan. It's one thing Coach Brown, Coach Marshall emphasized every snap. Have a plan. Well, actually, they just play in. They didn't have a plan. This spring, they had a plan. And so if that plan didn't work, the adjustment to the route they were running wasn't such a big deal. And so that's the growth they took this spring.
Yeah. You make a great point about confidence. increases when strength increases. In other words, if I'm lining up against a corner and I know that he's older than I am and he's stronger than I am, I'm not totally confident that I can run the route the way that I need to.
Absolutely.
When I go to the line and I look across and I go like, what's up, man? I'm as strong as you and I know exactly where my route is. Let's go.
Right.
That changes that's what makes the player different.
Absolutely. Because we always say all the time, when talent is equal, technique wins. And then when technique is equal, the film study wins. Knowing what your opponent's going to do before, the ball snap. And when technique is equal, physicality wins. And then when physicality is equal, the dog, the guy just has it, right? And so last year, those guys, faced, yours here where you got a freshman coming out of high school. He's 18 years old going against a guy that's 21, 22 years old.
Sure.
That's a big gap. It's a big difference, big levels of physicality. It's a disadvantage to the younger guy. But when you're just as strong as that guy, now you can actually be confident that you can play with the technique that you've been coached to do against this individual and not just take off and run.
Mm-hmm.
Take Traylon and Rodney for just a second, too, because I think they're unique in that – not unique in that freshmen, their second year in the system, you expect to take a big jump. Mm-hmm. But those guys, Rodney with all the basketball, plus not playing receiver much in high school because he had to play a lot of quarterback. Right. Traylon playing baseball all the way up until, July of last year before he got here. It would seem to me those guys have an opportunity to take an unusually high leap in year two just from a knowledge. Talk about confidence. Right. They've got to have such a much better base of knowledge going out there this year than what they walked on the field with last year at Penn State.
Agree, absolutely. They're just first of all, they got phenomenal. They got high football IQ and very instinctive. And I describe instinctive being, guys that are able to, make plays or get yards regardless of the circumstances. And you talk about Traylon. He was a baseball guy too, so he came in late. We had no idea he would be even ready as a freshman, but because of his IQ and his instinct, that gave him a chance to go out and play ball. Rodney wasn't even playing receiver. I was just an athlete. Right. But again, because of his IQ and his instinct, allowed him to do that. So now you couple their IQ with their instinct, and now them having a better grasp of what we're doing on offense and why we're doing what we're doing, why we're asking them to do what it is we're asking them to do, on top of knowing what they're facing and the coverage behind it, gives those guys a lot more confidence to even, just even maybe even talk a little bit now.
Yeah.
Talk some smack, which they did a lot of this spring, which is good to see. Competitive smack talk.
So the thing that's encouraging about Gallagher and about Ray is that you guys talked about their blocking last year.
Absolutely.
And when you're talking about blocking and they're young guys, that means that they're really going to – the rest will take care of itself.
Absolutely.
What's the over-under inside the receivers room on dogs? Are there 3 dogs in there? Are there 3.5 dogs in there? What's the over-under on dogs?
Over-under on dogs.
3.5. The number's 3.5 right now.
It's 3.5.
Today, not where they're going to be, but how many dogs are in the room right now?
I would say
under 3.5.
It's 4.
Over 3. He went over 3.5 dogs in a receiver.
That was a big number.
4.
That was a big line you set.
That's 4. I mean, I can remember Traylon Ray vividly. I mean, I put him on the video reel every week of blocking. I talk about that to this day to recruits, to coaches. For a freshman to come in and block the way he was blocking on the perimeter, that's the best I've ever seen.
Wow,
absolutely. That's the best I've ever seen. I can remember, I tell this story all the time. I say this. I remember it was a Cincinnati game, and he came out. He caught the first play of the game. Big play. And, the game went on, and it was a hell of a game. I remember sitting up in the bed like 11 o'clock at nighttime. I called Coach Brown. I was sitting there thinking, man, was that the only time T-Ray touched the ball? And I just started to just visualize, because I show a video every day of our standards, good or bad. If they pertain to our standards, we show it to the team so they can always know. And I'm putting this kid on the film every week of blocking. It's impressive. I'm talking to the guys, loving it, and it allows our guys like offensive linemen to see those guys as well. It allows them to get to know their teammates a whole lot better and what they're doing. So everybody's not stuck in their own little room. And I said, man, we gotta reward that kind of effort, because that's what it takes, effort and discipline. And then that's when he started to take off big time. And it makes those guys, when you reward those guys for doing things that they're not recruited for. He didn't come here to be a blocker, so it makes those guys play that much harder.
Yeah, what gets him to another level.
He is absolutely the best freshman I've seen blocking the perimeter.
Gets him to the next level, though.
Absolutely. That's what separates those guys. One might say, well, we can go find a receiver that can come run and catch. But you can't find one that's got the willingness and the discipline, the toughness to go out there and block repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
He does that.
Yeah, that's good stuff. You got to be careful for him because he still misses that baseball. We were at a baseball game.
I know,
Garrett
Garrett
and he were standing next to each other, and we said, "Hey, do you miss it?" I said, "Oh man, I miss that."
We had a little home run derby, little deal after spring ball, and they had a little friendly competition going back and forth. It's pretty good. He still has it. It's impressive.
Oh yeah.
I don't see how those guys sit in the batter's box with the ball coming that fast at you, but he's talented. It's impressive.
Yeah.
Athlete. Can't have enough of them.
You guys picked up a 6'4", 220-pound transfer this week. Philosophy-wise, what were you looking for? Why do you feel, hey, that's the piece that we need here? What were you looking for?
We just want to be to have some size on the outside. You know, anytime you can get some experience, some talent, some guys on the outside, that's always a bonus. And we lost one with had experience, one as big as him, but lost one with experience. So want to replace some experience in the room and some size and guys that can be able to be physical on the perimeter.
Play calling wise, what's 6'4", 220 give you the ability to do?
And win in the red zone, which we got to be better at.
Okay.
To be honest with you, we got to be better in the red zone, and you got a guy with that kind of size, that kind of experience. You hope when you get down in the red zone, that's a one-on-one matchup that we can consistently win.
Yeah. Let's talk running backs for a second.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of depth in that room now.
A lot of
CJ, Jaheim White, Jalen Anderson had a really good spring.
Really did.
Multiple options there. How do you keep everybody happy?
They got to consistently produce. I tell those guys all the time, we don't favor seniority, we favor production. They know the 4 ways we produce. And we produce, you make a miss, you break tackles, you get yards out of contact, and explosive play, which is for us a 12-yard run or more, or a 16-yard pass. And those guys, the guys that consistently produce will be the guys that play. And they consistently produce at the same level, got to find a way to get them all on the football field.
Yeah.
And but they're competitive. They root for one another. Now, first time I've been around a room this talented, you would think there's, some, hostility or whatnot. They're each other's biggest cheerleaders. They root for one another, and one makes a play, the other one wants to make a bigger play. And they also kind of unselfishness within them, where if one guy's hot, then the other one may say, "Coach, let him roll. He's hot. Let him go." They have that kind of respect amongst one another. But that's how you keep them happy. And then some of them, like Jaheim, has the ability to go over 100-something yards without getting 15-plus carries.
Yeah.
So they're not the kind of guys where you may need 20, 25 carries to get them 100 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And then the thing I tell those guys too, they want to play in the NFL. And so if you can play multiple guys, it allows those guys to have more tread on their tires to go play on the next level and to not be, looked at, as a liability because they've carried such a heavy load in college.
I saw that a little bit last year with Jaheim, right? With took him a while to get acclimated to the full system, to get all the skill set down. But then here he comes along mid-season-ish, and you got a fresh, dynamic back that you throw in there, hence 9 yards per carry, right?
Right, absolutely. There was 2 games. I had one game in the BYU game. They both rushed for 100 yards. Didn't take them as many to do it, right? The UCF game, I think one had 85. He got one call back, which took him over 100, and the other one had 100. So they don't need, a ton of carries to have big performances. That helps, and that's just in their ability. And then they got to be efficient when they run the football. You can't miss reads, and I would tell you can't miss the big one. Once or twice a game on each carry, on each back individually, they don't have 1 to 2 opportunities to hit the big one. I'm talking about, what's the big one? The 40, 50-yard run. You can't miss it. You cannot miss it. You mix it, they'll fix it. And so they understand that, and that there alone, makes them, be that much more competitive, that much more dialed in to what they're looking at, to what they're seeing, and to understand how to bring the defenders, the linebackers, to those linemen so they don't miss that big one.
Shows you the margin of error, doesn't it? That sounds like Major League Baseball players will say that. They'll say going up to an at-bat, they're hoping to get one pitch in that at-bat that's a mistake from the pitcher, and they've got to capitalize on the mistake. If they miss it, they're out of the league. Yeah, that's how you stay.
And that's same with those guys. Can't miss it. I tell them all the time, can't miss the big one. Cannot miss the big one.
CJ is really going to be fun to watch this year. Here's why I'm thinking that. First year, he makes the transition from tight end, so he was as raw could be.
Absolutely. And
he gets hurt.
Right.
And then last year, although a lot of people don't know this, his shoulder was bad the entire year. He had the chance to have surgery in the off season, but he opted not to because he was coming back from the leg injury.
Right.
I could completely understand that.
Right.
So he played with a bad wing the whole year. So he gets the shoulder fixed this offseason.
Yeah.
So now for the first time, he knows what he's doing,
Right.
and knock on wood, he's going to be healthy. So now you're going to get the package.
He's as happy as he's ever been since his freshman year. He's as healthy as he's ever been his freshman year. So those first several games going to his freshman year before he got injured, he was healthy. That's where he is right now. His mood, his attitude before he got injured his freshman year, that's where he is right now. And on top of all that, he's still curious. I always tell those guys, man, as long as you continue to have curiosity, you'll continually get better. And this will be his third year playing the position, and his curiosity levels are through the roof. And because of that, he'll continually get better. He's continuing to get better. And I think this year, I believe this year will be even better than what you guys saw going into his freshman year.
Yeah, that's encouraging.
Because his knowledge of the actual position now, knowledge of the game, again, his curiosity, his eagerness to want to be the best he can possibly be, and the fact that he's just healthy. I mean, that was a boulder on his shoulder last year going through that.
Sure.
And I can never speak on it, and it was tough. A lot of times, but
you knew
that was a big boulder on his shoulder.
I know.
To deal with.
No.
And he's finally healthy.
Yeah. Let's get into Jaheim, because his story, as Brad said, here's a young guy that comes in and averages 9 yards. He came in a year ago, January, so we saw him last year in the spring game, and he popped a long run there, and we went like, ooh. But as you know, sometimes guys do things in the spring and you never see him again,
Right.
and it's okay. So he goes through a maturation process of learning what's required to be successful at this level, which isn't necessarily everything to do on the football field. It's
Right.
showing up on time, doing everything else beside carrying the ball.
Right.
So you get him straightened out there, and he goes, okay, I get it. And then he just explodes.
Mm-hmm.
So he's small compared to what people would try to fit into. You got to be this size to be a running back. What does he have that allows him to have the level of success that he does, despite the fact that he isn't prototypical size?
His heart. What he lacks in his stature, his heart is enormous. And he loves the game of football. And he doesn't really know what he doesn't know what I mean by that. Like, he doesn't, in his mind, his talent itself is invincible.
He thinks he's 6'5", 250.
He thinks like that. And I love that he thinks like that. And so one of the things I'll tell him right now is to do this and do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cover his eyes, stop looking at everything, start reading everything, close your ears, ignore the noise, and maintain that same, the invincibility that you think you have, and still the big heart. Don't listen to all that stuff, so you still keep that chip on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
But when he started to understand it, he did not understand that early on. You might look at it and say, why this kid didn't play early in the year? Well, he did not understand that, what it meant to be on time, to focus, and all the things that he needed to do outside of carrying the football to make, when he does carry the football, that much more special. He finally got it, and when he got it, it was a great thing.
Yeah. Well, here's an example. If I remember, and you can kind of give me this, you guys give those guys tests before the game.
Absolutely.
You need to know your assignment, because if you don't know your assignment, you might get someone killed on your team, right? And he didn't have those assignments down, and you guys are going like, we can't play you because you're going to get someone hurt and you're going to blow up a play.
Absolutely. I give you one even better. Heck, the first one is really, I think when the season really took off, was a UCF game. Well, in the walkthrough of the UCF game in the hotel, the very first play he gets in the game, in the walkthrough, he blows an assignment. And it would have got Gary Green. If it was a game, it would have got Gary Green derailed. And so we take him out. And C.J. Donaldson, this is where the leadership comes in, and the respect for one another. C.J. Donaldson says, Coach, I got him. He says, I got him. And I overhear him. He said, listen, man, you can't do that. Man, like you blow assignments in the game day walkthrough, man. You won't play. You can't do that. He said, Coach, he good now. I got him. And it was at that moment, that particular leadership right there, was at that particular moment, in my opinion, is what took Jaheim from mentally to another level where he started to really get it. Wasn't even that week of practice. It was that particular moment. It was like I pulled him out. I was going to talk to him, and then CJ said, no, Coach, I got him. It was at that moment that he took off. So that's kind of leadership, kind of respect they have with one another. And then from that point, he took off. You know, his missed assignments and all that stuff, his focus, everything increased. The missed assignments, you know, came to an end. The focus increased, and he started understanding protection and all that.
Yeah, that's a great point. Speaking of that game, you talk about someone as tough as a fisherman's boot. Garrett Green got hurt in that game and spent one play in the tent, and he came back out, and he was hurt the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But you talk about it, tough. He just said, I don't care. I'm despite the fact I'm playing.
One word for that kid, unrelenting.
Yeah.
Unrelenting. If I had to use another word, trusted. Man, that guy, he's reliable, dependable. He's as competitive can be. We go as he go. We go as he go, and I love him. We lucky to have him.
What does his skill set bring to your offense that you had not had previously?
The ability to stem plays, make plays, and the biggest attribute I can give him is that the other 10 players on that football field a whole lot better when he's on that football field. Like the level of trust they have in him and the care for him, and like to what you said, you know, he gets banged up. He wants no days off. He wants no plays off. You know, you hear that all the time, no days off, whatnot. He wants no plays off. I mean, he absolutely loves it. His energy is infectious. His positivity, and his confidence through the roof. I protect it at all costs. He has always stayed there. So I'm on the coaches all the time by making sure his confidence stays there. But he's unrelenting, and we're the other 10 players on the field a lot better when he's on the field. And we sleep better at night as coaches when we know he's out there.
You know, also one of the –
yeah, I mean, real quick.
Go ahead.
Real quick. The fact that you can trust him is like when you put your head on the pillow at night, you also know that he's not going to do something that's going to be on ESPN lower third that night. That's a huge part of it, too. They talk about trust.
Right,
okay,
absolutely.
He's not going to do something stupid.
Absolutely. And he brings the team together. I mean, he brings all those guys together. He knows how to talk to those guys when they're up, when they're down, and they all respect him.
Yeah.
And his work ethic exceeds his expectations. And I always tell the guys that want to be great. You know, I mean, you got to have the intent to want to be great in every regard. And he has intent to want to be great in every regard, which makes any expectation whatnot, normal day for him.
Yeah,
that's the standard.
We got a bunch of guys that can do this, but he seems to be the leader of the pack in this. He's also a guy that can just erase mistakes too.
Absolutely.
Somebody misses a block, somebody goes the wrong way. He has the ability. It doesn't blow up the whole play. Right. Sometimes you get into a play that maybe you didn't necessarily want in that situation. Defense react. He can just overcome that.
Right. Absolutely.
3rd and 9, drop back. They have you covered everywhere. He just takes off. So having multiple guys like that, especially at the quarterback, that's such a luxury item, right?
Right. Absolutely.
It's the offensive side.
Right. It's a level and comfort in calling whatever play you want to call, because even if it's the wrong play called, on our behalf, he can erase that mistake on our behalf and make it right. And then, sometimes, defense, they got the right call, they just make the right play. But it's not a play for what he can do with the ball in his hands when he pulls it down, So to have that is huge.
And that's part of why the offense came so far as what it did. I mean, we just went through a bunch of them right there. But for really the first time since you guys been here, there's what did we just name? 6, 7, 8, 9 different playmakers we could sit and talk about. And that's not even getting into the offensive line that we can talk about individuals there. Just the sheer number of guys that can make plays for you is what kicked that offense into high gear.
Absolutely, 100%. And I would tell those guys, too, it ain't the play that's called. It's the player behind this play that's called. And, one of the biggest stats that I absolutely love is our number of first downs went from, I want to say we went from the first couple games, 19, to the last 7 games, we went to like 25.
25 is always the magic, isn't it?
Yep. And I always tell those guys, when you get the ball in your hand, be special with the ball in your hands. If you're special with the ball in your hand, you move the chains. You move the chains, you get more plays. You get more plays, everybody gets to eat. Everybody gets to have success. They embrace that. And one of the biggest things that I absolutely love is that, even if it's honorable mention or whatever, all conferences, that the entire offensive line was all conference. The both running backs, the quarterback, the tight end, and PFOS at receiver. And that's because those guys embrace being special with the ball in their hands, making plays for the quarterbacks, and moving the chains, get more plays, and being special with the ball in the hands.
Do you know what
we didn't even talk about tight ends yet?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
You know what we call Preston Fox?
consistent.
We call him Pac-Man Fox.
Pac-Man Fox. What's that mean?
You've seen him return punts.
Yeah.
He's fearless. Pac-Man
Very
was fearless. All he does is just make.
Oh, you playing Pac? I got
Yeah,
you.
Pac-
I got
yeah,
you.
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man.
Yeah, Pac-Man. Yeah,
absolutely.
Pac-Man.
The Pac-Man.
The
Yeah,
Pac-Man.
Not the
Pac-Man.
video game
Yeah,
Pac-Man.
I got Pac-Man Jones when I was playing it up. in
Yeah,
players.
yeah. Here's another Garrett Green thing. Talk about different dude. So the Houston game happens, and he has the penalty, and everyone knows kickoff goes closer, 15. Okay, we all know
Right.
what happens. The next day, he and Zach Frazier are visiting a cancer patient at WVU Children's Hospital. So that play could have set and would have set a lot of people down a dark road that you never were going to get them back from.
Right.
The whole put it on them, da-da-da-da-da-da. Instead, he's out after a long night on the travel. He's out there
Right.
helping this young lady out, who, by the way, is going to be at our event when we're in June 8th. She's doing great.
That's
She's going to
awesome.
be there. He's going to meet her again. But that, to me, showed like he's a different dude.
Yeah.
He's a different dude. He's not gonna play, oh, woe is me. Oh, I blew it, da-da-da-da. He's like, okay, give me the next snap. Let's go. I'll play again.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's kind of person he is.
Yeah.
And,
Super special.
Yeah, absolutely special.
Hey, Gomart, I got something for you until the end of this month. And by the way, if you're watching this and it's 2029, we're talking 2024. You know, Brad, that could happen because we go back and we look 7 years later, people still watching. We're just still watching like old episodes. But anyway, this is for May of 2024. You can triple the points. You can triple the thrills. Triple Point Tuesdays available at Gomart this month. Every Tuesday, Gomart Rewards members earn triple points on all purchases. Stop by your local Gomart. Stock up on your favorite snacks. Don't let the savings vanish. Register to become a rewards member. You can do it online or go to the Gomart app. Visit Gomart.com to learn more. Cough break. Okay. What time do you get up in the morning?
When we're in ball, I get up at 3:30.
What?
Did you hear what he said, Brad?
What? Excuse me?
We're in ball, so whether that's spring ball or we're in fall camp this season, 3:30. I try to get to the office. I don't say I try. I get to the office around 4 o'clock. Try to get there definitely before 4:30. Get a workout in. Gets my energy going.
Yeah, you're still lifting, aren't you?
Cardio,
I still
lift,
lift,
or both?
absolutely. More lift than cardio.
So what do you? So when you bench, conventional bench?
So I do on Mondays I do back, Tuesdays I do chest, Wednesday legs, Thursday shoulders, Friday arms, abs every day.
Abs every day?
Every day.
What's your ab workout?
It varies. V-ups or crunches, sit-ups.
Up here, you get up on one of the like.
No, I should lay on the little turf in the weight room. I lay on the turf.
You just do leg stuff.
Just leg stuff. Yes. Yeah.
When you bench, what are you working out with?
Dumbbells. So listen, but back in this was 2017. First of all, the injuries kind of like I said, we talked about the injuries
NFL derailed.
career,
Yeah.
right. But I've always had nagging injuries as a player. I've had the worst injuries as a coach, and my worst injury.
Wait a second. Wait. No, I think you misspoke. You just said you've had worse injuries as a coach than as a player.
Right, nagging injuries as a player, things that kept you off the field too long, which was not good, right?
Yeah.
But I've had injuries as a coach that caused me to have some surgery. The first one being 2017. My guys was bench pressing and they say, Coach, you can't do this, and I get up on that.
Oh
barbell,
boy, here
and
we go. This isn't going to end
I
well.
popped my pec. And
You
that
did?
is absolutely the worst pain I've ever felt in my life.
Oh, you popped a pec.
I popped it, tore it off the bone. So that was the first surgery I've ever had. And all the years I played football, I tore my pec as a coach.
I never knew that. When did that happen? In the off season?
Now this was 2017. Yes, tore my pec, and then here in 2019, in front and the players can attest to this, was in the team meeting because Brown wanted us to show like a NFL clip of a player or a team that kind of show something that you kind of emphasize in your room. And my deal was Marshawn Lynch when he had that phenomenal run where he broke all those tackles, raced a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, beast mode.
Beast mode made things happen. That's where the name come from. And he jumps in his zone.
Oh no.
Well, I jump in the. I've shown a clip, and I jump in front of the team.
Oh no.
Like he did. Problem is, my leg never came back. It stayed out there. And when I hit that ground,
No,
man,
don't
my,
tell me.
my groin popped, and at that particular time, I didn't feel the pain. It was so sharp of a pain. And I walk off that stage, and the guys had no idea. But I ended up blacking out. They didn't find out later. But now I finished practice, though. But that hurt so bad.
So that's why we say WVU Medicine is the official athletic partner of WVU Athletics for players and coaches. So what was that deal? Was that a surgery there too?
No, that wasn't surgery.
That was just a lot of
that was just a lot of treatment.
Yes,
but
that's pretty. Hey, Austin,
are you hitting any coffee or anything before?
But I'll say this too now. Even with the pec, and I tell it to the guys all the time. I brag about it, and I never missed a day of work. Even with the torn pec and this, I never missed a day of work.
Did you miss when you were in elementary school and school? Did you miss any days in school, or were you one of those guys?
I can't even recall that far back.
Okay.
But I know
so what are you working out with? Like, how much are you lifting on your dumbbells?
Oh, not much. I don't. I'm not trying to set the world on fire
Here's
anymore.
A good one. Not so this would be not much. So like, what would it be?
70 as high as I go.
Okay, 70.
I'm a rep guy.
How many sets?
5 or 12.
It's 5 to
everything is 5 12.
Does Rasheed Marshall ever come to you and give you instruction on lifting at all?
No, but he could.
He
can play.
He's a freak.
He looks better than when he plays.
As far as working out goes. He
looks better than when he plays.
Yeah, and he can run. He can still run too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. He can give some pointers. He look like he can still play.
Hold on. Are you hitting coffee or anything before you start? Or are you just coming in?
No, I just go. I just go. Now sometimes I go by Starbucks on the back end, but no, I just go. It gives me that is my coffee.
When you go Starbucks, you load that up with like any extra shots or anything? Or
yeah, I do. I get large white chocolate mocha with an extra shot of blonde espresso. I want it large. I want it hot. And I always remind them that I'm Scott. I want no receipt. Sound like I've been there before.
Yeah, first guy through. Have you met Andre Johnson, former Mountaineer running back? Do you know who he is? Yeah, you got to meet him. He finished 3rd all time. This is you'll like this one. Teach this to your running backs. When he left here, he was on the 88 team.
Florida guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Fort Lauderdale, Stranahan High School. Left WVU as the 3rd all-time leading rusher. Never started. And finished as the 3rd all-time leading rusher.
Wow.
So when you said Rasheed's still fast, Undra, so he was on the 88 team. Mm-hmm. So he's plus 50 here. You ask him, I say, Undra, how fast can you run the 40 right now? And he thinks he can like a 4.8 40.
Oh wow,
he is a dude. I mean,
absolutely.
He looks like you. He's in complete shape.
Has to be a dude.
Yeah,
man, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, you got to meet him. He'd like you. Yeah, Florida. That's a stunner that Undra has not met him. 2 Florida guys like that, running backs.
Yeah,
surprising.
That'd be awesome. I look forward to meeting him.
Yeah, we'll get him up. We'll get him down here. He makes so much money now.
Yeah,
it's kind of scary. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just like here's what he was officiating, like small level college football. Mm-hmm. And the supervisor had to correct him because when he was a line judge, they run toss sweep, mm-hmm. and he would take off down the sideline. He'd beat the running back.
Oh, so he went spotted ball.
Yeah, he was ahead of the doggone game. But the guy he'd have to go back. Say, I think it was over here. Tell me about your kids. You having fun? You having fun there?
Oh, absolutely. Got a 15-year-old daughter that'll be 16 in July.
Driver's permit yet on her?
That's fine. I was just about to say, I'm trying to teach her how to drive.
How's that going?
That's an experience.
She coachable?
Sometimes. A lot more coachable to me than she is mom. So.
How are you as a teacher?
Patient.
Yeah.
Patient. Very patient.
Are you telling her that she can drive here, she'll be able to drive anywhere in the world?
We hadn't made it to those hills yet. I'm still stuck in the parking lots where it's still flat. I'm nervous about them hills.
Well, we still got ways to go. There's not as many potholes in the parking lot, so that's that too. Probably better in the roads right now.
We still got ways to go. We in the beginners.
Is she enjoying it or is she stressing it?
She is. She was stressed. Okay. She was stressed at first, but she's enjoying it. Yeah, she's enjoying it. She's getting better at it. But we just got to continue.
Yeah,
we're gonna stay on the flat surface a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but she's doing awesome. She's a straight A student. Has never had a B since she's been in high school.
Oh my.
Absolutely love her for that. That's her. She's intelligent.
That's great.
And she loves it. She works at it, and so. Then I got an 11-year-old son who's going to be 12.
He's a dude.
Next month.
He's a dude.
Yep. He loves it. He loves ball. That's why he loves ball. He just loves ball. He's playing basketball right now. He's a football guy. He just loves it. I love the fact that I don't have to push him to do it. He wants to do it. Yeah. He wants to work out. He wants to play. he's an outside guy. He wants to be outside, and so
That's good today.
And then he has obviously the benefits of being around those guys and seeing how they work and how they carry themselves, and they're his big brother. And I love him for that and how they accept him.
Yeah, don't you? That like a lot of times people wonder, well, why do coaches' sons always seem to go on, and for the most part, they have some success and some do extremely well.
Right.
And I do think it's because the environment they're in.
Right.
They look around, they don't know any different. They're walking around, they're watching Jaheim White work out, they're watching C.J. Donaldson work out, they're seeing kids catch balls, they're seeing, for example, Garrett Green. He grew up in a professional baseball atmosphere.
Right.
He's in clubhouses as a kid growing up. It changes your whole mindset.
Absolutely. And they get a chance. He get a chance to see what those guys are outside of just the football field and see how they work and and how they work out. And he comes to the camps in the summertime. They work with him. They give him pointers. They give him tips, and he eats that up.
He's got crazy feet, I hear.
He does. He does. I hope he gets taller than I am.
Yeah, we'll see.
But he is a talented player. He absolutely loves it. Great energy, always going. When he's a kid, as long as he's up, he's moving. When he shuts down,
where he gets that from.
Yeah, I know it. When he shuts down, he sleep. But he's always moving.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And my wife, she was a basketball player too, so it comes from her. They competitive.
Where'd she play?
University of Kentucky. She was a basketball player.
I didn't realize that.
And she was actually a basketball coach before I was coaching. She coached 2 years at Morehead State University when I was GA.
Really?
Absolutely. So she gave up her career for me. So it's one of the reasons for my inspiration to get up so early too and work as hard, because she gave up her passion so I could pursue my passion. But she was a basketball player at University of Kentucky, coached 1 year high school ball, and then the winningest basketball coach in UK women's basketball history, which is Matthew Mitchell, started his career as a head coach at Morehead State, hired her as an assistant. Yeah.
Does she miss it? Does she still she locked in the women's?
At this point right now, she just loves traveling around with her son and seeing him play sports.
Yeah.
But that was a tough task for her to get that up. She missed it a lot at first, early on. Absolutely, when she first gave it up.
Travel sports, travel teams. What is your recommendation as a coach? Then on the other side of it, as a parent, for kids perhaps specializing too early in one sport? What do you recommend?
I recommend playing multiple sports. I think is key. Just the competitiveness that it takes to do that, and really just enjoying your childhood and having fun and playing multiple sports. And as you get older, you realizing what it is you like better, or if you can pursue more. My son, he does football and basketball. That's just what he enjoys. He loves. To be able to specialize in one, I wouldn't encourage that. First, I think they're young. They need to continue to stay active, and I think it's just competitiveness. It's just want to go compete in other things.
When you recruit someone, do you like the fact when you see multi-sport kids?
Absolutely, because I think of the same thing. I think competitiveness, more so the competitiveness than anything. When I look at guys that are multi-sport athletes, the competitiveness, the drive that it takes, and the willingness to be able to learn different things.
Yeah. We still haven't brought up tight ends. You want to have your tight end talk?
Well, you got some multiple guys now.
Yeah.
Brought in another one. You got some real size at tight end. What's that do?
I talk about this. I call them hybrids. And the reason I call them hybrids, because in today's, first of all, these recruits don't want to be categorized as tight end. They think that's the guy that puts his hand on the ground and they just block. So I call them hybrids. That's the ability to be able to put your hand on the ground and block.
Okay.
The ability to be able to run intermediate routes and the ability to be able to stretch the field. And so the group we got with Cole Taylor, first of all, he's a tight end that we hadn't had since 2012 in his offense. And I, completely respect the fact that he trusted us, that we would use him the way we recruited him for, which was be able to, block and be able to stretch the field vertically for us. But his skill set is a problem. He's 6'7" and he has phenomenal ball skills. And he was the one receiver that caught the most contested catches for us in critical situations.
Mm-hmm.
And so having that ability, and then it just, and the success he has is going to allow him to be that much more confident coming in next year. But he's a problem. He can't be recovered by a safety or linebacker with that kind of size, confidence, and ball skills he has. Traylon Davis, his ability, he is blue collar. He knows who he is, what he is, and we love him for it. And, but he blocks his butt off, man. He does a phenomenal job. We brought in, a guy that's coming in right now that may have the ability to do both, like Cole does. But it's a It's a
great
talented
size.
group. It's a talented group that has to be accounted for that opens up our offense in a lot of ways, run and pass.
It helps in the run game. Can you split those guys out? Kind of like the old Iowa State teams when they had those big
Right.
giant tight ends. Just split them out, get some mismatches with those
Right.
defensive backs.
It does.
Run outside on them. That's a problem.
It does.
for
You know,
defenses.
split those guys out and then you shrink them in, or you start them out, you know, in condensed sets, and you explode out and get into those wide sets. That presents a problem. And because of their ability to be able to catch the ball downfield is the biggest reason that gives defenses a problem, because they can actually catch the ball downfield.
Yeah.
In the past, before, you know, having those kind of guys that can catch the ball down the field, we knew when we put this guy in the game, you know, heavy percentage run. Where now, you know, those guys will be able to catch the ball, so that does wonders for us. And I want to talk about that offensive line real quick. Those guys, and one of the things I think made us so good as well last year, we finally had an identity of who we were, what we were.
Yeah, I agree.
We made that very clear to the staff, very clear to those guys on offense, and that we played to our strengths of who we were. And, you know, Coach Moore's done a phenomenal job with those guys up front. Their chemistry, the way they work, how they work, I mean, it trickles down to, like, all the guys in their room and then all the guys on that entire offense. And so the way those guys work and the chemistry those guys have makes all of us go.
Mm-hmm.
And they're able to take it. You know, we talk about winning in the trenches, winning up front, and they respond to it. And it was led last year by Zach Frazier, and like talking about leading by example and how that trickles down to everybody and how he worked. I mean, to Doug Nestor, to Wyatt Miles, and Brandon Yates, and Quay Hubbard, Malone, all those guys, and Tomas Remack, those guys make us go.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Absolutely. So
And
I
as
want
you-
to definitely talk about those guys.
Yeah, and you're right, because obviously those are the guys you talk about the least, but that was the most depleted unit when you guys first got here.
It was.
And you like it's a truly amazing story. It was as bad as I've seen it. And last year was my 40th year as far as just not having the bodies that you needed.
Right.
And now in 5 years, you were number one in the nation in rushing the football. That's like
Right.
that story is not being told enough.
Right. It's
That's
not.
one of the great 180s of all time. You guys inherited Colton McKivitz, and that was it. As far as guys are now, you've got probably 3-ish guys that are going to go in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I always say this too, we're second in the country in sacks allowed. We only gave up 9. Now a lot of that was, sometimes Gary Green making a play, but it's also, those guys doing a phenomenal job up front, testament to the back, seeing what they need to see. But those guys, man, they make us go, and they work like that too. And they embrace it, and the guys on the team, on the offense really love how they work, and they kind of, and I always say, we need to work to the way those guys work, because they show up every day with great attitude, phenomenal work ethic. They do actually go over and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And so the identity piece of it and them knowing who we are is what helped us be as successful as well.
Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. They've been in business for over 40 years here in the state of West Virginia. They're the premier pontoon boat dealer in our state. And yes, they do sell Avalon pontoons, and right now offering great opportunities on tri-tunes. Now, what that means, Chad, is not just that's 3 pontoons on that thing, which makes that run smoother,
Really?
kind of like a feather. If you go to Lou Wendell's Marine site, you would get a live camera view of that shot right there, and you'll see what the water's doing. You can take a look at all those great boats that they have in there. Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. Everything you need plus a little bit more. Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Visit them at LouWendellMarineSales.com. You mentioned that the month of May is recruiting month for you guys. You're bouncing all over the place. You were just on the road. What has the perception of WVU changed? What has the change been in the perception of West Virginia since you've been here, now that you go out on the road? Chad goes out 6 years ago, sells West Virginia. Chad goes out this month, sells West Virginia. What's changed?
I think the biggest thing that's changed is that the coach tells about all the players, regardless of where they can go play football, or regardless of where they believe they can go play football. In the past, I felt like when we go out, they may tell us about the players that they believe can play at WVU, whereas now they tell us about the players that can play at us and anywhere in the country, which I love and I respect, because we may go into school years ago and we may go in there and ask about this particular kid. 6 years ago, that particular coach would tell us about the other kid that's opposite the kid who's just as good as this kid.
They give you the tap on the head, say, hey,
Right.
This is Bobby, but he's going to go to Alabama.
Right.
And now they're telling you about Bobby.
Right, exactly. Yeah, this kid, he a Georgia kid, he a SEC kid. But I tell you what, coach, this kid right here, He just as good. Well, I don't want to hear about this kid right here. I come all the way from West Virginia and all the way down here to Florida. I wanted to know about this kid right here. That's where it is right now. So now they tell us about all the kids. And we were signing those kids, and they seen those guys have success when they come here. And so just excitement, the response, even when we walk into schools, people know who we are. Even the attitude of the coaches, man, it's more welcoming, it's more inviting to wherever we go. And I travel all over the place. Mm-hmm. So that's been the biggest difference. It's awesome to see. And we got more visibility. We're on TV a lot more. And so that gives guys opportunity now to see us more on TV.
Yeah. Good year in Florida, player-wise?
Great year in Florida.
Great year, huh?
Great year in Florida, absolutely. And guys like, Jaheim White, who grew up in Miami before he moved to York, PA, helps. C.J. Donaldson, the success they have. Trey Lathan. Those guys from Florida having success helps us tremendously.
Yeah, we had Trey in here. He did the show with us.
Did he?
He was fantastic.
Oh, he's awesome, man. He's awesome.
I like that.
He really is. He's awesome.
He's just. I'm sure they're coming back like today, tomorrow from that trip to Germany.
I saw. I think they were going to Paris, France today.
Yeah, that's how they were going back through France. They were all meeting back together in France.
Gotcha.
Did you buy one of the Neil Breezy T-shirts?
I did not. That was fun. That was pretty fun.
You better be careful because there might be a Chad Scott one out there. Chad,
I know it.
What would they call? Funny. What would your last name be in that?
I couldn't tell you. Who knows what these guys come up with? They you know what? When you have, again, when you talk about like the culture, man, and where we are as a football team, like just the looseness and the connectivity, right? That's the way I look. I look at it as a positive, and just seeing like that's how close the team is, and how trustworthy they believe in us to be in their regards, man, to do stuff like that. Because in the past, it would have been he might have had that, but it might have been hey, Dave, I'm gonna show you this. Right? Hey, don't tell coach. Where now they come out, you know what I mean?
They're having fun, man.
They're having fun, and that's huge. That's huge.
What do you think of this new league with the 16 teams in it and going out west and playing Arizona and doing that? It's crazy, isn't it?
Well, people might look at it and say, well, travel. Well, we've been traveling like this since I've been here, so nothing different for us. Just a new competition, and I think it's great. We got to embrace it.
You sell that when you talk to kids. Say, hey, here's going to be your opportunity to literally play. You're going to go all the way out to Arizona. You're going to bounce all over the place.
I really don't. The place we recruit, I sell the opportunity. They're going to come. They're going to be able to come and watch home games 7 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes 8, depending on how close the teams are. Like we play
Cincinnati,
that school down the road, up the road. Not too far from here. So it could possibly 8 games. So I sell more so the fact that we won't have to travel all over the place, but you'll be able to come here 7, 8 times a year and watch your son play.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Tons of West Virginia people in Florida, man. I'm sure you run into them. You were in schools. You're seeing
absolute tons of. I try to do it intentionally too, so we can spread the word that we're here. And
yeah, that's good. That's good. All right. So what do we settle anything?
I don't know if we settled anything. We got a lot of info.
We got an invite to this big cooking thing they're going to do.
Got an invite to the cooking deal. That's going to be awesome. Yep.
Listen, this is what you can do. Listen, we're not going to be over the top first year in. You just say, hey, listen, Brad and Tony are coming. They're going to help me clean. Just bring us right.
Gotcha.
Just bring us in as clean.
Gotcha.
You just bring us in as clean as we show up. We got aprons on and like hats. And they just like, these guys are cleaning up for us. Don't bother. Don't worry about them. They're going to help me clean. And that's how we get in. And then we infiltrate. All of a sudden, next thing you know, we're sitting next to Jaquay, and we're popping and pulling and eating crawfish. That's how it works.
That's how it works. You enjoy it. It's a great experience. Great experience.
And you did confirm, we had Jordan on a couple of weeks ago, Jordan Leslie, very good steak, cast iron steak cooker.
Oh, he cast iron. He's moved to cast iron now.
Yeah.
No, I've had it when he had it on the grill.
You did it on the grill?
He's going big time now.
Well, like anything else, you either get better.
Tinkering. There you go.
You get better, or you get better, or you get worse. You don't stay the same. I think his next level is he wants to play.
Progress.
Yeah. And we're not even going to bring in I told you before we started recording about the really bad chili experience that we had. That got left on the desk, and then we didn't get to eat it, and that's a whole different.
Hopefully we get a second chance at that.
Gotcha.
Well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the Leslies some bread. I'm going to make them some conventional bread. I'm going to make them focaccia. I want to make them give them that, just some type of what do you call that? Reparations to offset that loss, because that wasn't the way it was supposed to be. Hey man, we hope you enjoyed this. We did.
I absolutely loved it. I appreciate the opportunity to be on here with you guys.
It was our pleasure.
Absolutely.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen, WVU Offensive Coordinator Chad Scott. We hope that you enjoyed the episode. 3 Guys Before the Game, brought to us by The wonderful folks at Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, efficient. For 25 years, remote monitoring of your network. They can keep you safe so things don't get infiltrated. It's kind of like a blitz. Like Chad stays away from blitzing teams, Comax will help your business. Don't let your network get blitzed upon. Visit ComaxWV.com. By GoMart, go for good times. Get your rewards card. Do it now. Save money instantly. GoMart.com for details or download the app. And by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans, they happen to sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. That'll do it for us. For the Senator Brad Howe, for our special guest, Chad Scott, our producer, Austin Wright, number 555, episode 555 of Three Guys Before the Game. Over and out. We will see you